Sugar. So Sugar is right behind the camera. Her tail's, in fact, curling up in front of it, which you can't see because the thing's at the other end. So if the camera goes, it's because Sugar did. Oh. Okay. Never know what you're going to get in here. She's being very clingy because it's a little cool. All right. It is December 18th. Our title is My Desire is to Accomplish the Will of God. And our author is Olga Una Barker. And she's going. Or not. Nope. She changed her mind. Okay. She's currently eyeballing the fan. Okay, so this was published in Daily Inspiration from 1980, which is from the Universal Foundation of Better Living. Okay. All right. I am sure we have all had a deep desire for something in our life which we didn't get. The important question then is how to handle this disappointment. To accomplish any desire is to know that there is no disappointment with God. Everything works for good for those who love God. Disappointment must be met with utmost honesty, and we must strive. And she's gone. Okay, sorry. And we must strive to be free of deception. There is always something else towards which we can turn. A sign of real maturity is to admit the disappointment and then turn our desire towards accomplishment. Desire is the first step in accomplishing everything in life. All creation starts with desire, deep within the soul. The highest desire is to let the will of God be done. God's will for me and for all of God's children is all good and perfect. My affirmation today is, not my will, Spirit, but thine be done. I choose to yield my personal will to the universal will of God and reap the rewards of happiness, peace of mind, and complete satisfaction. I desire to accomplish the will of God, which is the expression of my true inner self, the Christ. Through the Christ in me, I shall accomplish all that I desire to do right now. She ends with a Bible quote. What things soever ye desire that ye pray, believe that ye receive them. And that is Mark 11:24. All right, she had me a little worried there. When we talk about the will of God, that can get dicey. Merely from the standpoint of there are a whole lot of people running around in the world who claim to know what the will of God is for you. Okay? See, the problem with that is nobody can know the will of God for you. Only you can know the will of God for you. All right? Everybody gets to know the will of God for themselves. And how do you know the will of God? Because you make regular trips to the source of your being. You go, Jesse was talking about it yesterday. I use the word God a lot because it's not a trigger word for me. I don't have any issues with it. But I also use the word source of being, whereas he's leaning into the word, he's leaning into divine nature. And we all make choices like that. So if I say the source of my own being or the source of your being, what I'm talking about is God or spirit or the universe or whatever word you want to say. Because like I said, God isn't a trigger word for me. I have no issues with it. But I understand a lot of people do. I do, on the other hand, have trigger words with Father. Not because I don't love my father, because I do. But my father, we've had our issues growing up. I don't want God to be a bigger version of my dad. So I do have that issue. So if you want to know what the will of God is for you, that is what daily, regular spiritual practice is for. Daily or regular. Because you can do it more than once a day. Spiritual practice, where you make a point of going to the source of your own being and getting to know that. And then you will have a pretty good idea of what the will of God is for you. It's not fate. There's not a plan. You didn't come here and you're destined to do this thing. And if you don't do this thing, then you're wrong. So I was kind of glad when she got to the end that she said, well, it's to express, you. So that's it. That's when we talk about the will of God. God supports life because God is life. God supports love because God is love. God supports joy because God is joy. So all of those things, creativity, joy, peace, all of that, all of what God is, that's what God's will for you is. What you do with it, that's up to you. So when people tell you, to follow the will of God, well, that's what it is. To express you, to express all of the qualities of God. Now, when they start to say other things, when they have specific plans for you, well, then you know that they're talking from ego. They're talking from ego. One of the most helpful things I ever had anybody say to me when I visited they call themselves non-denominational, but they were, I visited one of the mega churches. And honestly, I was right there with him. I was right there until he got to where he started talking about the devil and video games. And I just went, and then I was out. I was like, I'm done. Because I don't believe in the devil. I don't believe that there is an equal power that is evil to God, And so one of my teachers, and it may have been Reverend Shannon, looked at me and she said, well, anytime you hear somebody say the devil or Satan or whatever the various names that they use for that, hear ego. Hear ego. And then I went, oh, gotcha. It makes a whole lot of sense. And it's very helpful for me. So if you have, issues with that word too, then, or that category, then that's my gift to you. Anytime you hear somebody talking about the devil or ego or anything like that, hear ego. Okay? So, when you hear people talking about God's plan for God's children, and they say anything other than peace, love, joy, harmony, creativity, expression of your own personal, whatever, then understand that they're talking from ego. They're not talking from God. They're not talking from God. I appreciated what she said about disappointment, though, because, it's true. We try things and they don't work out and we're disappointed. Well, what do we do with that disappointment? Well, I like that she said, well, be honest about it. Be honest that you're disappointed and then turn towards something else. Turn towards your desires to express creativity, joy, what have you. In other words, move on. Move on. It's like, okay, yeah, no, it didn't work out the way I expected it to. But I can try something else. Oh, he has pictures in the back. That's really cool. Never got to the back of the book. Almost there, though. To accomplish any desire is to know that there is no disappointment in God. And see, that's really important. All of the negative things that we have in the past associated with God, none of them truly are associated with God. Because God is, what we like to call the ultimate good. The divine pattern, the patterning intelligence. God doesn't know disappointment. Thank goodness. So that means God can't be disappointed in you. So, okay, to accomplish, everything works for good for those who love God. Okay, disappointment must be met with the utmost honesty, and we must strive to be free of deception. In other words, don't kid yourself. It's like, well, it would have worked out, but, okay, just that wasn't it. Let's be honest about it and let's move on. There is always something towards which we can turn. A sign of real maturity is to admit the disappointment and then turn our desire towards accomplishment. In other words, move on to the next thing. Look, you know what? It didn't work out. And that's okay. And now I'm going to turn and do something else. I'm not going to sit here and dwell on my disappointment. Desire is the first step to accomplishing everything in life. Okay, I'm with her. All creation starts with a desire deep within the soul. The highest desire is to let the will of God be done. Okay, so that's a terrifying sentence. It can be a terrifying sentence, which is why I was grateful when she got to the third paragraph and she said, God's will for me and all of Spirit's children is all good and perfect, meaning it's whole. Okay? It means that everything gets to be included, including the messy stuff. Because we're going to make interesting choices. That's just part of the human nature. That's just part of the human condition. We make interesting choices and then we see what happens. And then we go, well, you know what? That didn't work out the way I expected it to. Let me try something different. Okay. I choose to yield all personal will to the universal will of God and reap the rewards of happiness, peace of mind, and complete satisfaction. One of the things, it's an understanding that I came to with will. Because frequently we are trying to do things via our own willpower. And we have a limited amount of willpower. But we have access to an inexhaustible amount of willpower. So when we turn to God and say, not my will, but thy will be done, what we are doing is saying, I can't do this by myself. I am willing to partner with you as a co-creator and allow your willpower to flow through me to do that which we desire. We are co-creators. God wants good for you. God wants good for me. Therefore, God is willing to channel that willpower through us. We have to be willing to accept it. Not my will, but thy will be done. It was an interesting, when I learned that, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm there. All right. And that's where we can go with happiness, peace of mind, and complete satisfaction, because we know that in the end, it'll be okay. Even if it's messy right now, we know in the end, it'll be okay. Because we're leaning on something bigger than us. I desire to accomplish the will of God, which is the expression of my true self. Okay? So, according to Olga, the will of God is for us to express our true self. And then she adds on, well, what is our true self? That's the Christ consciousness. Okay? That's where she up-levels it. That's where she says, the true self of you. So at the end of this, I talk about peeling back the layers and getting to know the truth of your being. Okay? To peel back everything you've been told about yourself. Well, what Olga just said is our true self is that Christ consciousness. And see, that's where science of mind up-levels Christianity. Christianity says Jesus was the great exception. That we should try and follow him, but we are going to fail. Well, Jesus didn't say that. Jesus said, all of these things that I do and more you will do. Jesus said, I am the example. Follow my example. All of the things that I do, you can do. And that's what Olga just said. Your true self is the Christ. So when I say get to know the person God knows you to be, God knows you to be that Christ self. God knows you to be whole, complete, loving, kind, compassionate, creative, harmonious, all of those things. That's who God knows you to be. That's God's will for us to express that. You want a mission today? That is your mission today. To express your Christ self. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No. She's not pulling any punches. And the closer we get to Christmas, the more important it becomes. I appreciate that they were talking about how they noticed that people are nicer on the roads and things like that. And I'm like, I'm still working off years of retail experience, years of working in a retail environment. Because I worked for Target for I don't know how long, and my experience during the Christmas holidays was completely different than this experience that they're talking about. And I still hold on to that resentment. you think it's time that maybe I should let that go? Because where I work now, the people are just a whole lot. And honestly, I haven't noticed any difference in the Christmas, other than they're more likely to say Merry Christmas, have a good holiday, whatever, they'll say that. Which when I worked for Target, they didn't. So, I have a mission that to express my Christ self and to let go of the years of trauma of working retail during Christmas. And I also want to make sure that I don't add to it, that I am polite and kind to the people, both the person who is serving me, checking me out, and the people around me. Because we went to Target one night, and the cashier was wonderful and we were kind to her. And the person who let us go in front of her, she was, and so we made it a point to say, thank you, have a Merry Christmas to her too. So, yeah, mission. All right. I dropped my glasses, so I wanted to make sure I didn't step on them. The other mission is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Be it one thing, be it three things. Point is to practice on yourself. You are your own best test subject. But more importantly than that, you deserve your own love, and you deserve your own kindness, you deserve your own compassion. It's easy to practice love, kindness, and compassion on people that we like. It's relatively easy to do it on people we don't know. It's more of a challenge to do it on people that we don't care for. And sometimes the one person we don't care for enough is ourselves. Practice on yourself. Practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself. The goal is eventually that everything you do be loving, kind, and compassionate. Oh. I'm sorry I let my throat dry out. I might need some water. Hey, Tom? What? I need some water. And that's, the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing I can do for myself and you is to ask for that water while I'm doing this live stream so that my voice doesn't keep cracking like it's about to, and I don't keep coughing. Oh, I'm sorry. And he walks in here cuddling Sugar because she was probably sitting on him when I asked for the water. You okay, baby? You need some water too? All right. One of the easiest ways to practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself is to take a deep breath before you speak. Think about what it is that's about to come flying out of your mouth, to yourself or to anybody else, because you'll never speak to anybody more than you speak to yourself. So it's a good idea to check what it is that's about to come flying out of your mouth. Take a walk, take a nap, take a break. The human equivalent of turning it off and turning it back on. Be that, whatever you're working on. Do you need a break from that? Do you need fresh ideas? That's what I'm talking about. I also like to say eat dessert first. One, legit, you can eat dessert first. I'm a firm believer that chocolate's the first step to fixing anything. But what I realized when I say that, what I really mean is don't save the good stuff. Don't wait for a special occasion. Make the occasion special. Do all of the wear the fancy clothes. Do all that. So, just celebrate your life. It is a special occasion. All right. I also want to encourage you to make room for joy. The world is what it is. And, if you watch too much of the news, it's going to tell you that the world is a horrible and scary place, which I don't believe. But, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You still deserve joy. So I want you to make room for joy. One of the ways that I make room for joy is this right here. And she's just like, why did you pick me up? She is my moment of joy. As is Sugar. Oh, that was Rita. As is Sugar. She's the only one that'll let me do that. Sugar will too. Chico is... Foster does not like being picked up. And Gabby, she'll let Tom pick her up, but not me. But she'll sit in my lap. So, that's what I'm talking about. Make room for joy. Whatever it is in your life that brings you joy, make sure that you do a little bit of that every day. Okay? All right. Oh, I need to charge my phone, which means I need to wrap this up. Okay, where was I? Joy. Oh, so then that means the rest of the basic suggestions. Do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you today. Drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. You saw I needed it. Otherwise, I was going to lose my voice and keep coughing, and I didn't want to do that. Your brain works better. Your body works better, i.e. my voice. And your skin looks better when you are well hydrated. Whatever I can say to get you to drink a little more water. And get that early in your morning bright light. I wore my sunglasses today, but I never took them off my hat. We got out early enough that the few times that I encountered the sun, I could duck my head and not get it full in the sun, or full in the eyes. So, 5 to 10 minutes is all you need. 5 to 10 minutes. It helps to reset a natural hormone balance called the circadian rhythm. And you will have more energy during the day and sleep better at night. It's science. You can look it up. Okay. Yep. Now I'm at my Ernest Holmes quote. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you do live in heaven right here, right now. It is all around us all the time because it's all God. It's coming to the realization, just like when you hear people talk about the will of God, well, what they mean and what we mean about it can be different. And that's good. So when we talk about heaven, what we realize is that heaven's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. It looks different for everybody. When we realize that it's not a physical place we have to get to, but a state of mind that we create, that any place can become heaven. That right there, oh man. I'm there. I'm there for that. Because it's a state of grace. It is heaven, that heavenly mindset is part of that Christ consciousness that we are called to express. So, that's one of the gifts in there. It's one of the graces. So, you can take Emma Curtis Hopkins' advice and look for the good and praise it. You can look around the world and be rocked back on your heels by the sheer beauty of the world around us. Even in winter time. Not that we're almost there. The 21st is the actual beginning of winter. We're technically still in fall. And here in, where I live, we are still in fall. We've had one frost, and that's it. And it was just a couple of days ago. So, bear that in mind. Look for the good and praise it. Or, which is another way of saying, count your blessings. Count your blessings. I like to look for the little goods because there's so many of them and then they just add up to the big good. You start looking for the big good, you might be a little disappointed. But when you start looking for the little stuff and then you add it up and you're like, oh, yeah, that's my suggestion. Look for the little good. Okay. I am at the part where I will remind you we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. I keep contemplating changing it, but I don't think I'm going to. Because I'm hoping that once I get through this menopausal, nonsense, I can go back to running. That's the goal. I got to get through this part right now. So I commend those social medias to you, especially the YouTube channels, because there's hours of content. Anything that you might need. I'm going to pick another book and start uploading another book. I'm thinking about doing It's Up to You. Because, that title. So, and then we'll go from there. I just want to get his little books up. I'm not going to read his big ones. Woof. Nope. Those should be done in professional settings because they're much long. The chapters are much longer. I just want to do the little books where the chapters are short. So that everybody has access to them. All right, beloveds. Email info@creativelife.org if you want to know what's going on with the center, especially knowing that the Christmas Eve service is coming up. Oh, I need to create the event for that. Okay, yeah. And I don't know what I was about to say there. So the hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it'll take you right to the information you want or to the person that can help you get it. All right. I'm in the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day. a willful day. You know what I mean day. A get your week started day. A final preps for Christmas day. Christmas is less than a week away day. A get whatever done you need to do today. Go enjoy the Christmas lights in your neighborhood day. A cuddle with your fur babies day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. As Olga said, God does not know disappointment. God is never disappointed in you. All right? So I just blew myself out of the water of that. You are... Oh. Have a good day. If that's too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased and well represented. You are a divine spark, a brilliant light. You are a spirit in motion. You are God in action. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. So, again, peel back the layers of everything you've been told, by everyone, by everything. Peel all that back and get to know who God knows you to be. And God knows you to be the Christ. That is the consciousness that we come pre-installed with, and I urge you to explore that. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.